like the rest of us, you're wondering what impact the recent US election is going to have on your budget, specifically your clothes and shoe purchases, then this short video is definitely worth the watch. Why? Because I give you 6 things that you can do between now and January 20th in order to better prepare yourself for, spoiler alert, prices on clothing and footwear to significantly increase for the next several years. Hi, my name is Alexandra. This is Mishka, and I have my own personal stylist company out in the Washington, D.C. area of the United States. I've also spent the last 14 years as an analyst, so I know how to look for trends and apply them to the future in order to better prepare for uncertainty. And that's what this video is going to do for you. It will give you 6 actions you can take to insulate yourself and your likely gorgeous, matching your outfit right now, hand-picked purse and wallet from what is about to happen. And I'm going to do it all in under 9 minutes, so strap in. If that sounds too fast, check out the 17-minute version I made earlier this week. I go way more in depth in my explanations. You can find it on my channel, which is up on the screen right now, or it's hyperlinked to play it automatically at the end of this video. I just really wanted to make this one as easy to digest as possible, like as short as possible, so hopefully you would share it with your friends and prepare them too. So, 9 minutes and the clock starts now. What are 6 things you can do to prepare for Trump's second term? We're going to get those answers by powering through the history and viable projections for the future. My sources, by the way, are all hyperlinked in the video description if you're interested. Starting with the history. When he was last in office, Trump increased tariffs on Chinese goods significantly for imports. That sounds fine, but realize that a lot, around 41% of the clothes and 72% of the shoes we purchased in the US were produced in China and then imported to be sold here. China didn't pay that cost, the importers did. The retailers, the brands on the US side, who ultimately passed those costs on to us, the consumers. So Americans saw higher prices on clothing and footwear steadily from 2016 to 2019. Now, obviously, COVID changed everything, so in fairness, Americans did spend less on clothes and footwear at the end of Trump's term. But, how many times did you leave your house personally to go to a store during the height of COVID? Not often, right? So yeah, we spent less. But overall, though, during Trump's non-COVID times, Americans saw hikes in 8 out of our most common 14 categories of expenditures, including clothing and footwear. So a lot of smart people, who also stand to either make or lose a lot of money, got together and conducted studies about what might happen in the next round of Trump tariffs, starting in 2025. Again, sources are hyperlinked, but I've drawn from studies recently done by Wells Fargo, the National Retail Federation, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, the International Trade Commission, and others. Ultimately, I've binned the impacts into 3 categories. Those categories are financial impacts to production and retail of clothing, impacts to jobs in the industry, and legislation that will likely arise as a direct result of these newer hardships. So let's go through them one by one quickly. For the production and selling side, those tariffs we just talked about will need to be paid by the brands and retailers importing them here. Meaning, if you want a purse from Dior, for example, or a Xinpeng puffer jacket, it will cost extra money, particularly for that Xinpeng or any other Chinese brands, because as you can see, there are tariffs for foreign goods and then additional tariffs built on for Chinese ones. So if a shirt costs, for the sake of simple math, which is what I'm all about, $10 from China, a US retailer could choose to buy that $10 shirt, but that's automatically another 20% or so $2 extra that they'd have to pay. Plus, because it is Chinese, another 100% of the price on top of that. So an extra $10 still, meaning that originally $10 shirt now costs the US retailer $22 basically just to unload it from the ship. Not even to unload it, just to purchase it. Then you have to factor in the stocking, the unloading like we talked about, the advertising, all those other fees. That $10 shirt will cost significantly more by the time it reaches the consumer because the retailer will be looking for ways to fully recoup their upfront costs. So bottom line, as you can see in the yellow, this will be much more expensive for the average US consumer. As for category 2, jobs, we all know Trump's platform relied heavily on promises of mass deportation. That said, I want to underscore that, bottom line in the yellow again, jobs are not necessarily safe just because you're a citizen of the US either. CEOs are going to be looking for any possible ways to cut costs. The US apparel retail industry employs over 1.8 million people, and the vast majority are in factories and on sales floors. These jobs are the easiest to cut when brands are trying to save money for those tariffs we just went through. So you might be wondering, okay, well, how many in the fashion industry, that 1.8 million people, how many of those are US citizens versus not? According to the Council of Fashion Designers of America and an immigration reform organization called FWD, they did a study in 2017 and determined that 20% of workers in domestic clothing manufacturing have undocumented status. That's a huge deal, especially given that we are talking about the US's fourth largest industry at the time. And think about what a potential vacuum of 20% of the industry will do to the supply chain. The supply chain, as we learned during COVID, is way more vulnerable than we previously thought, and it can be crippled by such changes. Additionally, in the fashion capital, which is New York City, alone, there are more than 900 fashion company headquarters. A large number of those employees come from outside the US. The city is also home to some of our most prestigious fashion schools, and for a couple of those, between 10 and 40% of their students are international. So making the environment inhospitable for them, or even deporting those students, means the US is missing out on their talent. Like, we've trained them and then we're sending them away. We're missing out on the money they'd be bringing in, the jobs they'd be providing, and the clothing they'd be producing. So moving on to the last one quickly, legislation. Basically for this, just know that the fashion industry will likely try to lobby and play ball with this incoming administration in order to keep costs down as much as possible and salvage their profit margins. At the end of the day, they're businesses. So there are some ideas on the screen of the sorts of initiatives they might choose to prioritize. Okay, so now that we know all this, what can we do? What should we do? What do we do? And those are all fair questions. Here are 6 things I'd recommend. Number 1, spend whatever holiday gift cards you get to your favorite stores, spend those as soon as you can, ideally in the first 3 weeks of January before anything changes with those tariffs. The sooner the better, because many retailers are already upping their prices to absorb some of the shock they're about to face. Number 2, save your money as much as possible without sacrificing the things you need. The way you do this is by ensuring every piece you own serves a good purpose, it's durable, it's high quality, it's going to last you. A personal stylist, like I or others, can help you pick the best quality pieces if it feels overwhelming. We look at fabric content, craftsmanship, durability, your body type, your coloration. We buy consignment, tons of other factors that we look at. But trust me, with enough time and research, you can learn to do this for yourself too. This is not an ad. This is just me trying to get this message out. That said, if you'd rather save the time, hire one of us. Number 3, another way to save money is to keep a full inventory of what you have. I use personally PowerPoint with a photo of the garment, the brand, the fabric content, the size, and what I paid for it so that when I go to resell it, I know how much I paid for it originally. Again, Vinok or other stylists can help with this, but tracking what you own and being able to see it all at a glance saves you from overbuying and from buying repeats, and it also helps you know what you have so that you can wear it, and that spreads the wear and tear out equally amongst all your clothes. Number 4, consume less and consume local. Support your small businesses and save on those tariffs by buying US-produced goods if able. This doesn't help if you want, say, like a Chloé bag from France imported, but there are tons of wonderful, high-quality US labels. Again, a stylist can help you find those things if you want, or you can Google it. Number 5, dress for your mood and your needs, and don't overspend. Even if it's absolutely stunning, and trust me, I'm guilty of this. Like, do you need a 3rd ball gown? Do you need another ecru sweater? How many shoes can 2 feet wear in a given year? And are the garments you're buying actually representing you the way you want to be perceived? If your personality is polished, if you're one of those I-daughter T-crossers, but your wardrobe is unkempt and verges on frumpy, then you're doing yourself a huge disservice, because sometimes that first impression is all you get. So sell the old stuff and only buy the few pieces that really, really represent your personality. And if you're struggling with the election, just on a practical note, some large sunglasses might camouflage tears when it becomes too much. A chunky sweater is like wearing a hug, and it reminds you to take better care of yourself. And a power outfit, like a good suit, would suggest that someone can miss you with whatever disturbing thought they might care to share. And if you're someone who voted for the incoming administration, well, just wear the hat, I guess. Number 6, last but not least, support causes that you believe in. You can literally Google, how can I help with blank, in blank, and put a cause you care about and put your city. Get involved. Something will pop up in that search. So I'll leave you with this. We're all in this together. I really hope this video was helpful. Please stick around for the longer one. Like, subscribe, and most of all, be kind to one another. I'll be doing the same here at Vinok, helping good people look the part. Thanks.